died in a skirmish far to the west. The order named a new leader, the young and charismatic Sir Accolon. This is the perfect chance for you to begin building relations with the order with a thoughtful gift. Your advisors previously informed you that the Queen of Malahat might agree to a non-aggression treaty, but she is likely to demand tribute in return. There are new quarries in the hills of Malahot that provide cheap stones as building materials. You begin trade talks to negotiate a long-term agreement for building supplies.
The masalas are among the most ancient. The amphitheater is decorated with the standards of the Masala legions. The guards stationed at the doors also wear antique but glistening armor. You walk to the entrance reserved for the nobility and enter the cold, dark stone corridor. Steps lead up to the seats where spectators can watch the fight, the caviar, and doors open onto the corridors that go straight to the vaults where the gladiators live. You don't have much money, so you have to decide. Either you risk your soldiers in the games, or you bet on other gladiators. The comfortable seats of the uppermost tier are all occupied. The seats below are also populated with commoners. It's a typical wet and windy day, so the nobles enjoy the protection of the canopies and their thick furs. Servants bustle among the rows. They arrange the bets. A fanfare marks the beginning of the games. The spectators roar, and the gladiators walk into the arena in a shower of petals. This Masala might be a grim and unpleasant noble, but he certainly knows how to earn the trust of the commoners. The duels begin shortly. The fight in the arena resembles a battle. Almost 150 contestants duel in pairs in the wet sand. You find it difficult to estimate the odds. You could point out at least a dozen excellent warriors. Finally, you notice two gladiators who seem to be a match for all the others. At the end of the first duel, both of your chosen gladiators win their rounds. Although the first soldier, the one you thought to be the better of the two, has been slightly injured. There is a short interruption. You can place your bets. The spectators slowly leave the arena. You look for one of the servants to settle the matter of your winnings. Then you leave with the money. The gladiators and the soldiers raise their weapons in salute. The spectators rejoice or shout curses at them. The master of the arena bows his head and expresses his gratitude to the nobles who came to see the arena fight.
A patrol has captured a band of Brigantes warriors as they were passing over the common lands towards the swamps. The Masalas intend to buy them as slaves for arena games, but your family has the right to purchase slaves first. Your previous adventures gained you a loose alliance with the druid of the Brigantes. You could ask him to perform a blessing ritual on you in return for your services, but such a request would dim your current image of a selfless nobleman in their eyes. The people of the Brigantes are very reclusive, but your spies have managed to gather valuable knowledge that can help you earn their trust. One of their sacred relics, the idol of the goddess, is now in the possession of the Sentinels, who regard it as an unholy item. If you somehow returned this relic to the Brigantes, they would most certainly be grateful.
Only recently. Only recently a deadly out.
On my way.
Only recently a deadly outbreak of a mysterious plague devastated the inhabitants of the Quintus estate. It's over now, but just as grave as its consequences are the rumors circulating about the origins of the disease. People talk of evil intent, and according to the gossip there is a certain place, deep in the heart of the Quintus lands, where everything started. You decide to investigate the rumors and find the place where the plague started. If it's true, it may change things. You gather a small group and set out to discover the truth. However, according to custom, you can't enter a province of a noble family with armed soldiers. With the formal invitation in your hands, you arrive in the Quintus lands and seek the nearest outpost, where you get an escort. You arrive at the grim villa of the family, where old Horatius Quintus greets you without enthusiasm and wants to know the reason for your visit. You tell Horatius Quintus all you know. He grows more and more solemn, but doesn't say anything. You suspect that he doesn't trust you, which becomes evident when he expresses his gratitude, but doesn't give you permission to enter his lands. Instead, he asks for directions. Horatius Quintus bids you farewell and his servants escort you to the border of the estate. On the way back, you take a short rest. It's the perfect opportunity to slip away and investigate the plague, but it'll have diplomatic consequences. At the border of the Quintus lands, the escorts thank you for your help and take their leave. You wait until they disappear on the road. Then you cut through the dense forest towards the place where the plague supposedly broke out, according to the rumors. The place you seek is deep in the heart of the Quintus lands. It takes a while until you reach a glade with the ruins of a wagon surrounded by heaps of dead birds. You are too late. The wagon has been set on fire. You find a barbarian artifact in the ash, but you leave without answers. Your magic shield is under normal strength. A spell was cast. The enemy has cast a spell. The enemy hero is casting a spell.
Fire! Fire!
A spell was cast. A spell was cast. A spell has been cast.
Fire!
The enemy has cast a spell.
Fire!
A spell has been cast. Your unit is going to die. A spell has been cast.
Fire!
spell has been cast. Your soldiers are going to die.
On my way.
The Senate has been convened again to discuss the urgent... The Senate has been convened again to discuss the urgent matters in New Rome. As a new senator, you are invited as well, which could be a great opportunity to shape your relations with the other families. If you want to change anyone, this is the time. Before the session begins, you take your time to recall every important detail about the various members of the noble families in Iberacum. It could all be very important today. Horatius Quintus is a stubborn, proud military man. He appreciates determination but loathes subtleties and quibbles. Cornelius Severus, on the other hand, is a slick, amoral politician who values clever maneuvering and compromise. Otherwise, it's hard to earn his trust. Pompeius Messala's political aim is to keep his land sheltered from anything that happens elsewhere. Apart from the occasions when he's pursuing this agenda, he doesn't participate in debates. Ovidius Caracalla, on the other hand, has dedicated his life to protecting Iberacum. The first one to speak is Cornelius Severus, who reports the case of some of his merchants who fled a band of Cumbrian marauders to an empty garrison on Massala soil. The Massalas cite this incident as reason to practice their right to impound these goods. Severus argues that this law is outdated and it's time to repeal it. Not to mention that the wagons were filled with goods meant for a village in the north, where a strange disease killed the crops. If the food doesn't reach the destination, these people will have to leave their homes. The debate immediately flares up. The supporters of the Massalas seem to be in the majority. You can still try to influence the senators. After the long debate, the senators prepare to vote. Which way will you vote? The Senate has voted. The Masalas look smug and satisfied. The law remains in force, while the Severus family has no other choice but to sell their goods for an unreasonably low price. The next senator to speak is from the Caracalla family. He talks about the Sentinels, the barbarian knights who have dedicated their lives to hunting down warlocks. Unfortunately, they keep on crossing into Roman territory all the time. The Senate should do something about this. The Senate is divided. There are plenty of arguments for and against the peaceful solution, and finally the senators postpone the entire debate for a later session. The third to speak is Horatius Quintus, who lists the demands of the king of Malahort, who wants Iberacum to hand over a captured marauder knight. The barbarian warrior crossed into the Masala lands many times until he reached Quintus territory and lost his battle. What do you say? Cornelius Severus supports your proposition, which is enough to gain the majority of the votes needed to open negotiations with Malahort. That seems to conclude matters for this session. Does anyone have anything to add? Asks the head of the Senate. The meeting is adjourned for today. You slowly walk out of the great marble-decked hall into the feeble sunshine of Iberacum and ponder the events of the session, mulling over all you've learned about your enemies and allies.